Hey everyone, welcome back. This is day 2 of lockdown art, so art that I'm basically doing whilst we're in lockdown. And this time I thought I would do a fashion kind of illustration video. I love doing fashion illustration, it's something I did a lot at university. So, a few things you're going to need today. Basically, pick a fashion image that you love, preferably from an old magazine or maybe a picture you can print off from the computer. So I've got this gorgeous image here, which I just ripped out of one of my magazines. And basically, I really want to focus on the face. You're also going to need a watercolour pad. So I've got a different one than the one I used yesterday, but again, any one that you've got at home. This is Winsor & Newton. It's just because it's a bit bigger than the other pad that I was using. So just a nice watercolour pad. You're also going to need some water and either some watercolour paint or some inks. So it doesn't really matter which one you want to use. Inks will be darker and work slightly better with this technique, but you can use watercolour paints as well. So for this technique, to actually speed up the process, rather than drawing it freehand, which I do sometimes, especially if I have the time, because I like to practice my freehand, but because it's a quick video today, what I actually do have is a light box or light frame. And what this is you can plug this into the mains and you can use it to trace. Now obviously if you don't have one of these, just use your window, hopefully it's sunny outside, and you can just prop the paper up against the image and you can use the window to draw. If you're working with a light box, you need to make sure that all the outside light is minimised and turned off so that you can see the image, because the watercolour paper is quite thick, so it's not so easy to see through. So all I really want out of this section is her main features, so her eyes, her nose, her mouth, the shape of her face and her eyebrows, maybe a tiny bit of the hands. I don't really need anything else for this picture. So I've got a pencil here and all I'm going to do is really lightly draw out her face shape, and I might not even use the light box for all of it. I'm going to put links to all of the things that I'm using today so that you can also buy them if it's something that you would like. So check the description below to find those. Okay, so I think that's probably all I can get using the light box, so I'm going to turn that off and show you what I'm left with. So it's quite light, so what I'm going to do is darken those couple of little sections up. And what I don't want to do is put in a lot of detail, so I'm not adding any shading. So that's all the detail I think I'm going to put on for now. And you're going to want to make sure you have a glass of water. I would suggest you have one thick paintbrush, one medium and one thin. For the thick one, I really like to use this really soft watercolour paintbrush. So this is my medium one and this is my super thin one. So just 3 different sizes would be good. So you're also going to need some kitchen roll or some tissue paper, and then like I said earlier, I'm going to use inks today, but you can use watercolour. So what I'm going to do is I've got this Liquitex ink here, Violet, and I'm just going to put a little bit in this kind of ice cube tray thing that I have. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of the ink in one of these. You don't need much at all. And then using my big brush, pop that over there, I'm just going to put a whole load of water in there. Just because I don't want it to be a really dark colour. So I'm going to grab some on my paintbrush to see what kind of colour comes out. That's still quite dark, so I'm going to add some more water. So that's kind of pale enough now, and I'm just going to work around the edge of her face, really trying to stay in the lines. I'm just going to go over her whole face. Make sure the hands are also done. So I want one side darker than the other, so I think I'm going to make this eye and eyebrow darker and then the lips darker, I suppose. Actually, what I'm going to do is use my thin brush. Get some of the dark colour and just get some of it off, and then I'm just going to try and get a really faint, still quite dark, get some more water, and I just want a really faint eye. And just work with where the pencil is at, and as you can see it's really super pale. And I'm not going to put much into it. I'm going to have a look at the image as well just to check that I'm putting colour where I think it should be. So I've darkened up that side a bit. I'll probably just do a tiny bit on the nose as well. Just add a little bit of definition. And I mean, a little bit of colour goes a long way, honestly. Okay, now next I want to do the lips, but what I want to do is like make it quite a lot darker. So I'm going to use the paintbrush first, dip in the water and wet the areas that I want the ink to be darker on. And then I'm going to get the dark ink and just kind of drop it, and it will like do its own thing because the water is already there. And then it creates like quite a nice effect, and it does its own sort of thing, I suppose. And then if I want the colour to expand out a bit, wet your paintbrush and just add a little bit more where you want it to go. You want it to go to the top of the lip. Okay, so now I'm going to focus on the other eye, which is what I also want to be dark. So I'm going to first do the eyebrow, and I want the eyebrow to be like really quite dark. So I'm going to add like water on the whole thing, and I want the ink to kind of like spread out. So then I'll just dab a bit of ink in the middle, and of course it's doing its own thing already. And I might add a bit from concentrate as well. So for the rest of the eye, I want this bit to be dark. Just going to add a little bit of that in the corner and let that do its thing. Okay, so now some of it's dry a bit, I can actually use my paintbrush and dip it in some dark ink and just try to put a few more details in this eye here. So I'm just going to use it and put it where there would have been really dark ink. And you can like blend it into like the eyebrow and whatever other sections you were working on before. And I'm just going to kind of do a little bit of a shadow that would have gone down here. I don't want to add too much in terms of shadow. And any bits of her eyebrow that I kind of want to correct now, I can do it because it's all dry. Just adding in a bit of colour. Just adding a bit more shadow here. And with the lips, I'm just going to do a tiny bit of detail on the teeth, but not much. Because I don't want that to be the focus. And then I'm going to add in a bit of detail to where the nails were. So these are her hands. And then obviously this is where her chin is. And I kind of want to give her a little bit of definition, otherwise her face looks wrong. And also, like, this is where the hair would be, kind of here. And what I might do is just use the thick brush and put some water on where we haven't got colour at the minute. And then I'm just going to put a dab of the ink on there. And hopefully that should just do its own thing, especially if I lean it downwards. Let that kind of do its own thing, and then I also want to do it on this side, so I'm going to do the same thing with my paintbrush and just paint around her head. And a bit over here as well, and then do the same thing, so pop some ink on the top. And again, move it around and let it do its own thing. And you can use your paintbrush to help if it's not really going where you want it to go. Just kind of helping it along at this point, just with the paintbrush. Here, because I want it to be a bit darker. And the other little bit that I could do is in the actual picture, she has like a really nice earring. So just make sure it's dry before I start. And I can use a really small paintbrush and just try and make a little design. So because it's quite an easy earring, you can kind of just make these little cubed patterns which look like the earring itself. And then that just gives it, like, the picture a little bit more detail. And you can use masking fluid as well to do this kind of thing. But for now I'm just using the paintbrush. Just realised I hadn't done any of the ear whatsoever. So that's it for today. Just a small watercolour drawing for you guys. It's not the easiest thing for me. I do enjoy doing it, but it's definitely a technique that I'm trying to improve on all the time. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed it, then give me a thumbs up, and also if you would like to see more videos, please hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you all soon with a new video. Bye guys!